Hello and welcome to Ups and Bros, and this week it's harvest time. So of course I already did the whole Cascade plant so far, but I need to do Nugget today, and yes, I'm a little bit late into the season, but it needs to get done if you want to see this hop in one of our future beers collaborations with Tuc de Woo, which is coming up, but also Max will be homebrewing with some of those hops. So I want to show you guys how I work my way through all those hops, and also how we dry them, how we prepare them for getting ready to put in a beer. So of course it's not a full 101 on how to harvest hops. There's a lot of stuff going on. I already showed you guys how to grow your own hops. Now it's time to pick them up and see what we can do with them. So let's go. I have my snippers, and let's just cut through them, or cut to the part where I do harvest some hops. Is it the right way to say that? Let's go. One really important thing is to chop them off in little pieces so you can easily manage them seated and not break your own back while doing them. So let's go. Alright, now for the picking part. Usually I just grab them and nitpick them like this. You can double check on them to see how the quality is. So this one is a little bit old. You can see there's a little bit of brown on it, but no worries, the lupulin is still really good inside. So this is what you want. You want to just check on them. Make sure you have beautiful cones. Like this one is fat. I really like them when they're big. This sounded weird. But picking is just a small little part. They are easy to take apart at the same time. So this is something I do really appreciate. It also depends on the kind of hops you're picking, but some of them are a little bit harder and some of them are a little bit easier to pick. So no worries. But also if you're picking hops, little advice: if you want to wear gloves, it's a good thing because it really cuts through your hands. At the same time, those little beasts have some little needles on them that can like easily scrub off your skin. That's why I'm wearing a sweater, just to protect my arms at the same time, because you do get some red rashes from that in the end. So be careful with that. Be aware if you have some sensitive skins, this might affect you a little bit more than someone else that is not affected by that. So I'll do a little time lapse of that because there's a lot of time going through this, and also if I don't stop talking, this will probably never get done. So let's go. So what Max and me did, we built some racks made of wood, but also with a window screen in the bottom so we can easily dry them off after. For harvesting, it's super easy. You just sit down, pick them up, and put them right in this screen. Usually you can keep them, like if you have a small harvest, just a little thin layer, so it makes it easier to dry them off. But for us, since we have upgraded a little bit of our drying system, we can easily stack them up a little bit more thick and dry them still in a 24-hour marge, which is something you want to aim for. So once you get started, you can't really stop. You need to just make it happen. You already cut your binds. You just need to work your way through and hopefully grab a beer, sit back, enjoy it with a friend. Usually it's a lot easier with a friend. And make it happen, because usually it can take up to 3 hours to make or take down all those binds. So hopefully I can make it happen in less than that, since now I'm kind of like used to make this happen. So let's see. So the Nugget hop, it's one of the ones we have, but it's also a really aggressive hop when growing. You can see that the Cascade is a little bit more subtle. You do get some of those citrus aromas out of it, but this one is piney, grassy, fresh cut grass, and you can smell the pungent acid alphas in this one. A lot higher than the Cascade hop, and this one is mostly used as a bittering agent, like a bittering hop. So compared to the Cascade, it's seriously a whole other hop. It's lighter in that green colorish, a little bit whiter, and also smells a lot stronger. I don't know if you guys can see, I can maybe like snap one in half or I keep it. So by picking them, I can easily see how they get a little bit more lupulin. So lupulin is really sticky, it sticks on your fingers, and it's a little bit hard to get rid of. So having gloves, it's a good point to have and a good point to make. While picking your hops, you might see some little bugs around. No worries, usually if you just shake them off, you can be good with removing those bugs. One thing you need to be aware though, there's those little green bugs that you'll see if you dry them, and that means that maybe your hops are infected. We had that last year in our hops. Usually if you dry them really quick and you're able to store them sous vide, remove all the air in the bag and put them to the freezer, your hops are saved. And that's what happened with our hops last year, but this year I haven't seen them so far. So maybe it depends on the season and they can get affected. So having some ladybugs around your hop garden is a really good bug to have, because it keeps the bad bugs away, and it's the bug that will probably eat a little bit of your leaves, but usually your cones will stay intact. It's not something that animals do love. Keep them away from your dogs. Don't let your dogs eat them, because it's not something that they're supposed to eat. It's not super deadly, but it can cause some problems to your dog, so be aware for that. Patience, my friend, patience. That's what you need when you pick some hops outside. Alright, so I'm all done picking up those hops for today. I've been picking for the last 3 hours. It's draining a little bit, but they are now ready to go in those little racks, really sturdy, but I can stack them, and I'll show you guys how I properly dry them off in a cooler way, but also fast. So I decided to cut on the cool thing and go into a more fast-paced drying system. So let's go downstairs and check that out, right? Look at my hands, it's just bad. Yeah, it hurts a little bit. Alright, so this little creepy room, this is where I do all the drying for our hops. So you can see the two racks right here, but right here it's just a regular dehumidifier, I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry, you can correct me on that one. I just don't know how to pronounce it, but it removes humidity, so it's set to the maximum it can do. So I don't know how it works usually, but I just set it up to the maximum. So far it's working perfectly. Let's see how this turns out. I got a lot more hops than usually, but it's all kind of like a test. So I'll talk to you guys in 24 hours. I'll go take a nice shower, have a little bit of food, and try to enjoy my night. And yes, it's beer time. Alright, so our 24 hours have passed, and now we're ready to package all this green nuggets, I'd say, not gold nuggets, because obviously they're green. But one thing I want to specify first, these are special racks. Make sure you shake them if you have bigger stacks of hops stored in them. And also, really important, if you want to make sure they're dry, just touch them. You'll see they feel a little bit more papery, kind of like a piñata, something like that. And once you go through them, you hear that? Sounds like Rice Krispies. So, feels like paper, sounds like Rice Krispies. Those hops are ready to package and seal them to make sure they're ready to use in your own brew, or if you want to participate into collab brew, harvest, something like that, like we're doing, then it's the proper way to store them and make sure they're used properly and they don't get oxidized or contaminated by the heat or by the light. This is what you want to save your hops from. To get started, one thing, I think it's a really good investment in general, a food saver. So this one was in special and came entire last year. I had the chance to put my hands on. It's roughly about $100. You can get them. Comes with a few bags at the same time, so you can custom made some bags a little bit bigger, so I can fit close to 800 grams. This is what I'm aiming for. I'm just stacking them up because obviously it's going to be used in a much bigger way, but also every brewer has a scale, so they can make sure to put the right amount seal the bag up and reuse them for the next batch. Of course, it's gonna be oxidized, but if they're used in quick batches of homebrew, then they'll be fine using that method. So without further ado, let's just get those bags ready to roll. Also, another really quick tip, packaging hops could be a little bit messy. You see with those screens, I'm shaking up some hops, and some of the hops have the dry lupulin powder kind of like hanging out around, and it's not volatile, but it will fall down across the screen to the floor. First year I did that on my kitchen table, huge mess. Lupulin powder everywhere in my kitchen. So if you want to save yourself some hassle and don't want to mess up your kitchen and have your wife or your husband really pissed off at you, then just do this in your basement or in a room that you don't mind messing up a little bit. That's easily cleanable. Just quick tip. Didn't happen. Let's double check. I think the seal looks good. All right, I have my scale. Let's weigh this bag of hops and see how many grams we get out of this. Ha! 676 grams of nugget right here. So ready to go, ready to package, or not to package, but to put back in the fridge. One thing also, make sure you put the type of hop you did package and also the date you packaged it. So you can remember that you have a 24-hour out of this batch. So remember when you picked it up and also how fresh it is, because if you don't use it this year, then it might not be as good the year after. So the quicker you can use them, the better it is if you want those nice fresh hop flavors. But also be aware when you have a big amount, maybe just brew a really heavy hoppy beer. So this is 1 kilo of hops. This is what it looks like in a bag, all squashed up, all wrapped up, all vacuumed up. I'm really proud of this one. It looks like a little baby. Hup! Whoa! So alright, growing hops is something I really do enjoy myself. It's really fun. I have my home right here, but it's just super easy to make it happen, and I think it's fun to share that with you guys. What I did over the past 2 days, like 24 hours of collecting my own nugget hops, took me 3 hours of harvesting, then also setting up the drying racks, which it's roughly about 15 minutes, and then packaging another 30 to 45 minutes. Roughly rounds up to 4 to 5 hours for, I think I have close to 2 kilos. So I couldn't imagine like a smaller hop grower having to go through all this work to produce this much goodness. And you can see that online, like all the other big hop growers have those really big equipment to make it happen, and also really easier so breweries can have the freshest product in the end. And seriously, it's amazing how the technology is also evolving with cryo hops showing up, like a way to freeze them basically instantly and turn them into a compact powder, or turn them into a little bit more compact pellet that's not affected by oxygen or heat or even sunlight. So it's really impressive how the technology kind of like pushed it a little bit more forward, and having to do this on a little bit more rigorous side of things, a little bit more bigger side, I think it's a good way to get to know this fantastic plant, which is the hop. So you just sit down, listen to a good podcast, and enjoy your time while picking some hops. Usually grabbing a friend helps, saving a lot of the works, but once you're done drying them out, if you have a little bit of room in your home, it's really easy. Yes, could be messy. That's why I dropped some of those tips for you guys, so it would be easier to kind of like get all those things rambled up. It's like we did the mistakes last year, we did some mistakes this year, so next year will be a lot better, and that's what Hops and Bros is all about. So you want to know more about beer, then let us know if you enjoyed those videos, if you enjoyed us talking about like how to do beer in general or just beer styles. It really means a lot. So I want to ask questions to you guys. Like, if you grow ops at home, what are you doing and what can I learn from you? So just drop in the comments and let's have a conversation about that. So I won't hold you on this too long. I'll grab my glass of beer. A big cheers. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because this is how we build this fantastic community. So thanks a lot. And of course you can drop on Instagram, Facebook. We're also on Twitter. So just go out, reach out to us, and let's have this fantastic conversation. So cheers, and we'll see you in the next video. Poof. Why do I do?